Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ornella and today I'm going to teach you how to make a cute cake box. This is a great idea to give a second life to plastic containers that are no longer used. For example, hair mask containers. You can turn it into a pretty girly box or a box that you can store anything you want inside. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to make this exact design, but you can make it into any color you want. You can see some designs that I've made before. This one is a special one. I made this one for my mom because she loves strawberry shortcake. As you can see, you can also use a girly box that of course you can buy online. Let's get to crochets now. Firstly, we of course need a plastic container that you can open. Then we need the yarn. In this case, I'm going to be using white yarn for the cake itself. And well, it's a polyester yarn, a chenille yarn, and I'm using a 2.5mm hook for it. Then a red yarn for the strawberries on top. We will also need a yarn needle to sew the pieces together, some scissors as usual, a stitch marker so you can count your rows and stitches. It's optional of course. Then we need a hot glue gun, some stuffing for the strawberries, and lastly I like to use some pins to hold everything together before sewing. To begin with our project, we are going to start crocheting the base of our cake. We are going to do that by making a slip knot and chaining 2. Why do we do this? Well, this is the replacement of a magic ring. If you are using an acrylic yarn, you can make a magic ring if you want. Next, we are going to single crochet 10 stitches inside the first chain. This is going to be our first round, and when we finish, we are going to put the stitch marker in the last stitch of the round. Now we have to make 10 increases. An increase is made of 2 single crochets. By the way, if you don't know how to make a single crochet, you can watch my beginner crochet guide, where I teach you how to make every stitch you can find in a pattern, but most importantly, how to make a single crochet, the main stitch in this project, besides the half double crochet that we will be using as well. I'm going to explain to you how the next rounds will consist from now on. This pattern is really flexible because not all containers are the same. Some are bigger, some are smaller. You have to make 1 single crochet and 1 increase. But the more rounds you do, the more single crochets you add. For example, if this is the 3rd round, then for the 4th, you're going to make 2 single crochets, 1 increase. For the 5th, you're going to make 3 single crochets, 1 increase, and so on. If you're a bit confused, don't worry because I'll be explaining later. And if your pattern requires more rounds, then add more single crochets and then keep the same increases until you cover the top of the box. Now we are going to crochet 2 single crochets and 1 increase for the whole round. Remember, if your circle already covers the top of the cake, then do not keep making rounds. You can skip to this minute to continue with your cake. Since mine is not big enough yet, I'm going to add one more single crochet. As you can see, I add one single crochet in each round. This makes the circle wide, it just makes it flat. In my case, I just need one more row, but if you need more, feel free to make as many as you want. I forgot to measure it for you guys, so basically it's 9 centimeters wide and 7 centimeters tall approximately. But if your yarn is thicker, then your project will work faster than if it were thinner. Now we have to make 4 single crochets and increase around. You can see here that mine covers the box perfectly. Don't worry if you have some space left because it has to fit like a glove. We're going to make the lid part of the cake, but afterwards we're going to make the other part, the bigger one. Only in this row you will have to work with the back loops only. In every stitch you can see there's like a V shape, so you have to only grab the back one. By the way, I'm not adding anymore the count of stitches in between brackets because not all of you will have the same number of rounds, which means you will have more or less stitches than me, so I don't want any of you to be confused. Don't worry though, you just have to single crochet from now on. Moving to the next round, we are going to single crochet around. You have to make as many rounds as you need to cover the lid only. You work with the normal loops for these ones, and well, if your lid is bigger, as usual, make more rounds, but mine only needed 2 more rounds. As you're done with your lid, please make sure it fits perfectly before fastening off, and then you have to cut a short end. If you have these little gaps, do not worry about them because we are going to use hot glue, so it will be pressed down so there's no spaces left. You can hide your end inside so it will look cleaner, like this. To make the other part of the cake, we have to repeat all the rounds until the back loop only one. In other words, you have to repeat the rounds until you cover the top of the cake. It will be the same as we did before with the increases and the single crochets. As you can see here, I'm already finishing the round of single crochets in the back loop only. You pretty much have to do the same, but you just make now more rounds of half double crochet than before to cover the down part of your cake. Instead of single crochets, we are going to be using half double crochets because they work up faster. Here you can see with a slower clip of how you can make a half double crochet. You have to take a loop, insert your hook, take a loop and crochet the 3 loops together. here's how mine looks so far. Before cutting your yarn, make sure they fit alright and you like how they look like, so you don't waste your yarn. You can see how they close together, and it will be even better when we glue them. Again, fasten off and cut a short end and hide it. We're now going to start making the strawberries. We're going to make a total of 3, but if you think you need more or you just want 1, then go ahead for it. You can totally customize it. We'll begin by making a slip knot and chaining 2. Now we're going to make 4 single crochets. For round 2, you have to increase 4 times. For the third round, we're going to just single crochet around. Now single crochet and increase around, and that will make your round have 12 stitches. To give the strawberry its shape, we are going to single crochet around. And lastly, decrease around to close your strawberry. Now it's the time to stuff our strawberry, and you can see how I stuff mine. Then cut a not so short end and repeat 2 more times so you have 3 strawberries. Now close the holes that the strawberries have. The following step is to make the frosting. We have to make a total of chains that will be equal to the circumference and a half, just in case. I will explain why later. You just have to chain and try how it looks. Here I have the total of my chains. You can see that I made the circumference and a little more. It's not even 1.5. Now we will follow a pattern. Firstly, skip 2 chains, and then in the third chain you have to make 3 double crochets in that same stitch. For the next stitch you have to make 2 double crochets and repeat until you have the circumference of the box. You can see here what I mean by covering the circumference. You don't need to have more ruffles, you can say, because this is like a ruffle stitch, than you need, because we have to sew it. why did we make more chains than we needed? Because you never know how many double crochets you make, because this kind of stitch tends to shorten up. So well, we will leave a long end to sew it so it looks cleaner, but if you want you can actually glue it as well if you want to make it quicker, but in this case I'm only sewing this part. And well, about the remaining chains, just cut them a few chains away and then pull those chains to make like a kind of knot and it's secured. Now we're going to make the frosting that sits on top of the cake. This one is like a popcorn stitch, but firstly we're going to chain like before. Make the circumference and a half just in case, because then you can cut it and then you can undo the chains and stay with the yarn and make a knot and you can use it as usual. But if we have a shortage of yarn, then that is a real problem because we have to undo everything. For the popcorn stitch, we have to yarn over and skip 2 stitches. Then we insert the hook and grab the yarn. And then we have 3 loops. We just pull through 2 loops. And then we yarn over and insert and repeat the process until we have 4 loops after crocheting. We have now 3 and we repeat. Now that we have 4, look, we have 4 here. Then we pull over them all together. And now we chain 1. Then make a slip stitch and repeat. This is going to make like bubble stitches or popcorn stitches, however you want to call them. When you're done making your strand of popcorn stitches, I suggest you use some pins to try how it looks on top of the box and see if you need to make more popcorn stitches or not. Here I see that I need more, like 2 or 3 more. Here I tried to like assemble the pieces together so you can have a look of how it will turn out later. But well, now it's time to put the pins in the part where the ruffle frosting will go. In other words, we have to make it in the big part of the box, the longer one, not on the lid. And we will sew on the front loop of the vase. Here you can see exactly. Remember the round where we made back loops? Well, we have the front loops where we can sew now. When you finish sewing, cut your end short and hide it with hot glue gun. Be careful if it's yellow because it might look a bit weird if you're using white yarn like me. But if yours is more like transparent, then you don't have any problem with it. or if you're using any other color. Now it's time to hide this one with some hot glue as well, so it doesn't lift. Now it's time to glue the box to the crochet parts. I'm adding some glue to the plastic container directly, and then I put it inside. Make sure to press properly so it doesn't move. Now glue the sides like I'm doing here, so you secure it. Repeat the process with the crochet part that belongs to the lid. Now with the popcorn frosting, you have to cut it like we did with the ruffle one. Leave some chains just in case to make like a little knot, like I'm doing here. Look, I take the chenille, and well, to secure it even more, I used hot glue. And well, what you have to do is just glue the popcorn stitches to the top of the cake. Be careful not to put it too much outwards, because you may need more stitches. So use pins like I'm doing here now to not do any mistakes. By the way, don't worry about the yellow residues of the hot glue, because we can remove them later with the scissors. You can see they look very ugly, but well, it happens to everyone, don't worry about them. We are now attaching the strawberries with hot glue as well. The last decoration that we'll make is with the remainings of the toppings, the remaining chains. Well, we are going to make this decoration by using hot glue as well, and you just have to glue it the way I'm doing here. If you need more chains because they weren't enough, then you can make more chains and glue them. And well, we're done! Congratulations! You've finished the cake box! Thank you so much for following along. I hope you really liked your results. You can post your finished products on Instagram or any social media and tag me. I'll be glad to see it. If you want more tutorials like this one, please subscribe, give me a like, and comment down below what you would like to see. I would also really appreciate if you could share this with more people, since it will really help me. Once again, thank you and see you in the next one. Bye bye!